Hello, I'm the Greek Geek because I'm 50% Greek and 100% a geek. My first impressions on seeing this film is, they took quite a bit of inspiration from the original Twilight Zone. The easiest way to describe this movie is that it is an hour and a half long Twilight Zone episode. In the 1950s, a young switchboard operator and a DJ radio host discover a strange audio frequency that's going to turn their whole world upside down. That's all I'm going to get into with the plot. I don't want to spoil too much. Not yet, anyway. Jake Horowitz plays Everett Sloan, and Sierra McCormick plays Faye Crocker. The opening to this movie is just these characters talking endlessly for almost 20 straight minutes. Like, as soon as Everett comes onto screen, he's talking away, a million words a second. You can barely comprehend what he's even talking about it, and if it even relates to what's happening in the movie. A lot of the dialogue in the first 20 minutes doesn't seem to relate to anything else that's going on. It's just people talking endlessly, very quickly. And it's a lot to take in the first 20 minutes before it slows right down and you can take everything in. I did find both of their characters quite annoying at the start, just with the endless talking and whatnot, but they did grow on me towards the end, especially Faye. Other characters are introduced, but I didn't really feel like they're really worth talking about. I don't really remember their names. But these two are the standouts, and they act very well for the most part. And I'll get into the cinematography, which relates more to the acting a bit later. So it's directed and written by Andrew Patterson, and this is his first film, as far as I can tell. And for someone who's just doing their first film, he does a pretty good job. It's a mostly coherent story. Even towards the start, I didn't really understand 100% what was happening, but that's probably just me. There's lots of nods to older science fiction movies. Like, for example, it even opens up like a Twilight Zone episode and you get that vibe throughout the movie. The radio station is WOTW, which stands for War of the Worlds. So there's a nod to that. I like that one. There's a character called Rennie, which is a reference to actor Michael Rennie, who played Klaatu in the original The Day the Earth Stood Still. I'm sure there's lots of other references and other things that I didn't pick up, so if you notice any other references to older science fiction movies, I would love to hear it in the comments down below. It does create a very good air of mystery. From when you hear that radio signal, you are wondering what is even going on, but because it's a science fiction movie, you can probably guess where it's going. And I enjoyed these two characters going on their adventure around town, trying to find clues and get stories from other people to try and figure out what is going on. It's very good at capturing like a 1950s vibe, like movies like Super 8 and TV shows like Stranger Things that cover an older time period. It has the same kind of feel as to that, which was very, very good. And it was kind of spliced. You also get a vibe of Encounters of the Third Kind, like the characters in that trying to figure out what's going on with these spaceships flying around. Same kind of vibe as that. I know there are other movies that are set in older periods that are similar to this movie, but those are just the first ones that come to mind. So we actually do hear the mysterious radio signal. Well, of course we do. We've got to actually hear it. And it does have a very 1950s sci-fi vibe to it, and I really like that touch. That was really good. But the music can be a little bit jarring. Like, there was a point in the movie where there's this music playing and there's this loud thumping noise, and for some reason, the first thing that popped in my head, there was just some big robot or monster thing walking around. I don't know why my mind was in that. It just popped into my head. But the rest of the music does complement the movie, and it really does fit that 1950s sci-fi vibe. So, very well shot. There's a few interesting ways that they shot scenes in this movie. They do take advantage of a lot of long shots and shots that are made to look a lot longer. Like for example, Sierra McCormick, she does like a 10-minute long scene, and it's just her using the old-fashioned telephone switchboard. She's putting people's calls through and trying to work out what's happening to other people, and About halfway through, I noticed it was one take, and then it went on for like another 5 minutes. So she did a 10-minute take in one go. It's not just like a back and forth dialogue. She was talking to multiple characters, changing the switchboard around. So props to her. She did a fantastic job with that and just executed it so well. There's a few other shots like that that are shot just longer takes, but it's mostly just one person telling a story for an extended period of time. But they do really good job of that. And there's some other interesting shots too. Like there's shots where it would just be on an old black and white television to reinforce the 1950s kind of aesthetic they were going for. So that is a nice touch as well. And there's point of view shots as well that are executed quite well, although I don't think they made too much sense in this movie. But that's just what I thought. There's a few blank screens where there's just dialogue going and no visuals. I didn't really see the need for that, but hey, at least they're trying something different. I did like seeing like the older technology, like the older 1950s telephone and the telephone switchboard, having to put the cords in and the jacks in and switch it around to get different signals and all that kind of thing. I like seeing that. It really does look like it's in the 1950s, although the cars, did they all have Chevys? Like, I didn't really pick it up. My girlfriend noticed that a lot of the cars were the same, and apparently they're all Chevys. I don't know. I'm not a car guy. So they just got a whole bunch of Chevys for this movie. But anyway, it's a low-budget, pretty much indie movie, and I think they did a good job at capturing the 1950s. If you can get past the first 20 minutes where it's just non-stop dialogue, just assaulting your ears, there is a lot to enjoy. There's a lot of nods to older science fiction movies. This one captures the mood. If you like Stranger Things, Super 8, Encounters of the Third Kind, there's a lot to enjoy. It does slow down a bit, and I did find myself getting bored in some scenes. I will admit that. But it's decent, and there isn't that much new stuff coming out these days, so beggars can't be choosers, can they? Before I end this video, just a couple of spoiler things that I want to talk about. They find out at the end that the cause of all this is aliens, because, of course, 1950s sci-fi, mysterious signal. What else could it be? But for a low-budget movie, you actually do see the alien ship right at the end, and I thought they did a spectacular job. Like, all of the special effects budget would have went into that one shot of that ship, and they did a really good job. I liked the design of the ship. It looked really cool. The lighting was complemented, the eerie greens. That was fantastic. So I enjoyed this movie. Will I watch it again? I don't know, maybe one day, maybe 10 years from now, I'll give it another go. So, as always, thank you for listening to me ramble on about a movie for a few minutes. I do appreciate it. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.